When you understand, since that time that Satan has been trying to destroy the seed, ever since then, he has been trying to destroy the seed of what God put in place. Look at where abortion comes from. You can't reproduce. Now abortion is all over the news. And now they're fighting to keep abortion. And then some people are saying, no, we don't need abortion. But because Satan has come along, he's been trying to destroy the seed since the beginning of time. And when you look at it there, watch me, now turn with me to the book of Genesis, the 4th chapter. And you'll see in the first verse that ever since the beginning of time, Satan has come and he tried to beguile. He started with Eve, but now he carried it from the garden. And now he's trying to carry it into our everyday life. Oh, it's all right. She's nice. Oh, it's okay. He talked to you good. Oh, it's okay. You can say this and it'll be all right. But then those lying and those deceiving and committing adultery and fornication, all of those things are designed to destroy the seed. What did God put in you that he allowed you? He said that I'm going to bring you out of sin and I'm going to bring you into my marvelous life because there's something about the seed. But Satan from the beginning of time has been trying to destroy the seed. Give me the book of Genesis, the 4th chapter, and let's start at the first verse. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. But watch this. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now we got two brothers here, and we're going to go back to the 3rd verse in just a moment. You got two brothers here, one that kept the sheep and one that was a tiller of the ground. But you're going to find out these are two different seeds. One seed wanted to please God, and one seed wanted to get recognition of the flesh. Watch this, the 3rd verse, and it continues on. And the Bible says, in the process of time, somebody said, when time came. In the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought forth the fruit of the ground, an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Watch this. But unto Cain and to his offering, he had not respect. Why do some people, when they come to church, they want to be seen by what they're wearing? They want to be seen by what they give. They want to be the loudest person in the room. But God said, I'm not receiving that offering. But that one that comes to God's house and said, today I'm coming here because, Lord, I need a word from you. There's somebody that came to God's house today that are watching, that are listening, that say, God, I just need one touch from you. But then he said that, Cain, I can't receive your offering because it's in vain. You're trying to do stuff to please man, but here I need somebody that come here today that say, Lord, I just need my life right. God, I need something to happen in my life. I'm tired of doing what I'm doing. Lord, I'm tired of being in the place that I am because I need somebody that's going to bring me forth an offering that I can look at that offering and say, now you're ready. I want to look at your offering and say, I'm pleased with what you're giving. If you come into God today, won't you come to God with everything that you got? Watch this, going back to the book of Genesis, the 4th chapter. And he goes on and he tells them, he said, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very, very, very wroth. He was angry. And his countenance fell. He got sad. God, why are you not receiving my offering? Bishop asked for a particular offering today, and I brought it up. Hey, here's my offering. But I gave out of my abundance, but I didn't give as a sacrifice. I took and I went and spent more on this new outfit. It's got all the glitter and the gold. When people see me on Sunday morning, they're going to say, oh, look how good you look. You dress so nice. But then I spent more on that outfit than I did with sowing into God's house. And God is saying that, what are you bringing me on today? If you were to plant the right seed, if you had to take an evaluation over your life, and that was your seed, and that seed was planted, what will it produce on today? If you had to take an inventory over your life and everything that you are doing, from this time today, from this time last week, from this time last year, what would that seed produce? Today, I want to challenge that inner man. I want to challenge you into a place where you're saying that, God, everything that I have done up until this time, my seed is my seed pleasing to you. He looked at Abel's seed and he said that I can accept Abel's seed Because Abel's seed is reproducing, but your seed is only good enough for me, myself, and I. When we come to God, are we coming to God and say, Lord, you can have everything? Or we're coming to God and say, God, I'm giving you what I have left. When you come into God and you're saying, God, you can have all of me. Or you come into God and say, God, I'm only giving you a piece of me. When the choir and the praise team is up, Lord, you can get me shouting and you can get me dancing. But when the word is being ministered, then you're going to get me nodding and napping. Well, is God getting everything? Is it when you get back home and you heard the word, and then now the Bible tells us in Mark, the 4th chapter, it says that as soon as you leave Satan now comes in and he chokes the word that you heard. And you get in the car and you get on the telephone and you start talking about this and you start talking about that. You start talking about the pastor and what he did and how his family is. And you start talking about what he drive and what he should have did and how he should have did that and what should have did. And he kept us too long, or he didn't give us enough and I didn't felt like I get. What are you getting? What are you giving God today? And I challenge you, if your life had to be put in the place of a seed, what would that seed look like if it was planted? Will that seed look like if I planted it? Will it be fruitful? And will it multiply? Or will that seed look like it that I am ashamed of what I've been able to become? When you plant that seed, will that seed now look like when it grows, it's going to be a stalk of lies. It's going to be a stalk of deceit. It's going to be a stalk of backbiting. It's going to be a stalk of covetousness. What will that seed look like? But if I had to take an inventory and say what I want my seed to look like, I want my seed to be the seed of Galatians 5 and 22 and 23. I want my seed to look like love. I want my seed to look like joy. I want my seed to look like peace. If I had to do all the 9 fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, temperance, meekness, that's how I want my seed to look. I want God to look at my seed and I want him to say unto me, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Enter ye into the joy of the Lord. That's how I want my seed to look. In Galatians 6, in the 5th chapter we'll start, you'll see that God looked all over the earth. What started the first verse? Give me Galatians 6. I mean, not Galatians, but the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter. We'll start at the first verse. And you'll see that now men had become evil. God couldn't accept Cain's seed because St. Cain's heart had become evil. Cain started getting more developed of self and less of God. His seed became evil. His sacrifice, that what he wanted to give to God, wasn't a sacrifice that God wanted to multiply. But then God said to Cain, I can't take your offering. I can't take what you're giving me because there's something not right about your seed. And I ask you today, is you giving God the right type of seed? Are you giving God what belongs to him? Or you're saying that, God, I'm going to give you what's left. God, I'm going to give you the leftover, the past tense. Or, God, am I going to give you 100% pure seed? Watch this. Now, you read in the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter. Watch this. The Bible says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters was born unto them, that their sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them as wives, and all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, and the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Watch this. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But here's where everything is going to change. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Now we understand that what takes place here, that God comes in, he sends a flood and he destroys the earth. He destroys every mankind. He destroys all of the beasts of the earth, but all that was left on the ship that God told Noah to build the ark. God saw something good in one, and he used that one to reproduce the entire earth. When you understand, when God said, I want you to be fruitful and to multiply, God is looking what you have in you. God is not looking for the majority, but he's looking for the minority. When you come into God's house, God is looking, will you give me everything? Will you let go and let me in today? God is saying that I don't want everything. He said, because the heart of men have become wicked. You have gotten to a place in your life that you're saying that I can wipe my mouth from doing wrong and act like everything is okay. God said, that is not the offering I want from you. There's people all over the world today that are celebrating God in church, in their churches, in their synagogues, but still their heart is not right. I remember a time in my life, Chris, where I would come to church and I would be crying out and I would tell God, Lord, I'm sorry for everything that I've done wrong, but still leave and do the same thing. And when you read in Genesis, the 6th chapter, God said man's heart was evil. And I tell you today that how is your heart? Are you coming to God and say, God, I'm sorry for everything that I've done wrong? God, am I sorry for the things that I didn't do what I know I should have did? God, will you give me another opportunity to make it right? And you'll see that now what God did, he comes and he destroys everything that's on earth, saved everything that was just on the ark. He said, because there was one that I found that I can reproduce from. And I'll say this to you today, is there one that God can find from this message to come to God and say, Lord, I'm sorry? Is there one that God can say, Lord, I want you to receive my offering today because I want it to be pleasing in your sight? Is there one? The Bible tells us in the book of Genesis, the 8th chapter and the 22nd verse, for he says that as long as the earth remains, there'll be seed, time, and harvest. Because he tells us, he said that never again will I destroy the earth, because he found something good. And today I want you to take from this message, God, look at your servant. Will you find something good in me? When I came into this house, when I came into hearing of this message, I came in here with my hands lifted up because he said, lift up your hearts with your hands in the book of Lamentations. Lord, I lift up my hands to you because, Lord, I want to be pleasing in your sight. Lord, I lift my hands up to you because I want you to have all of me. You'll find that down where God said, if I can find one. We'll read further on down in the book of Genesis, the 18th chapter. You see where Abraham, now God was coming to destroy men all over again. He went down to Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham comes and he walks with the Lord and he tells him, he said, God, if there be 50 righteous in the city, will you save the city? Saying, God, if there's somebody that is watching me today that can hear this message and say, Lord, is there something good in them that you can save them, if you can give them another opportunity to get back into your house, to get their life back on track with you? Lord, is there anybody today? And I'm pleading, I'm saying, God, if there's 40 righteous out there, will you save them? God, will you give them another chance? Lord, will you give them another opportunity to make it back to you? Then he went on and he said, God, if there be 30 righteous, Lord, will you give them another opportunity? Will you spare the city? I'm saying, God, is there be somebody out there who would take hold of this word and say, God, I'm sorry. God, give me another opportunity because I want to get my life right with you. And he got all the way down to 10. And he said, if there be 10 righteous in the city, will you spare the city? And he looks at Abraham and he tells him, he said, Abraham, there be 10 righteous. I'll spare the city. And I'm closing with this. Give me the book of Genesis, the 9th chapter, in the 1st verse. And watch this. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and he said unto them, be fruitful and multiply. That's the word I'm telling you today. Be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. See, what I want you to understand, when he's telling us to be fruitful and to multiply, the power is not measured in the size of the seed, but it's what's in the seed. And what's in you today, God is saying that I want to take what's in you and I want to multiply it. I want to use what's in you and I want you to share your testimony. I want you to go out into the highways, into the byways, and I want you to compel people to come into my house. I want you to share your testimony and to allow other people's lives to be changed. I want you to just open your mouth and I want you to be a vessel that I can use. God said, I want you to be plentiful, be fruitful, and multiply. Today, I want you to realize this. The power of the seed is not measured by the size, but what it is measured by is reproductive power. The power is in the seed. The power is in you. So take this word today. Be fruitful and multiply.